O Show. This is the Big O Show.
He is ready to rock and roll. Mr. Dwork, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good. It's a good day, isn't it, Big O?
It is a good day, but I'm going to be the sourpuss on this all. You got to stop. It was a nice novelty throughout the season. You're eventually going to run into a hot goaltender. At times, you've made this guy look better than what he really is, and you're not going to be able to have the comeback anymore. And so, yeah, it's nice, but we're setting ourselves up that they're not going to be able to come back from one of these because it just gets tougher as the playoffs move on. And I just would rather stop this whole we fall behind and we come back crap because it's just playing with fire and you know where it's going to end up. That's all.
Yeah, it's not ideal. I'm sure it's not what they're aiming to do. I think it's more kind of a result of, circumstance and situation that they get into this situation where they're falling behind.
Wait a minute. Let's delve into that a second. Let's delve into that because this is a habitual problem. This is what it is. We look at it as it's fun. It's fantastic. Comeback Cats. It's awesome. They're down 1, they're down 2, they're down 3. I said it all year long, didn't I? You never give up on them. They always come back. They always come back. They always come back. That's great. It's the regular season. We did it. Fine. At one point or another, you got to grow up, bro. And you got to show up from the beginning of the game and bring it because one of these days, it's going to bite you in the ass. And it may be a game 6 or 7 that ends up eliminating you from a series and you have an opportunity to go win a Stanley Cup. All I'm saying is it's a beautiful thing and it's fun and all that, but it is a problem for them because it happens all the time. So it's a problem.
Well, it's something that they're, you live by the blade, die by the blade. If it's something that they're going to continue to play in a style, or I wouldn't say a style, but in the inconsistent manner in which they seem to struggle to get their feet going. I mean, we've seen it multiple games during the playoffs. They're so good and so talented that they've been able to overcome it a few times. But certainly not a recipe for success that I would think is sustainable in the playoffs. I'm not counting them out either because this season, as we've kind of watched it go, is remarkable, unprecedented. So no reason to think that the playoff run, if they go on one, would be of a similar suit. It's nerve-wracking, and I will end up with a matching gray beard by the time this playoff's over to yours if they keep doing it. Yeah. But I mean, look, at this point, this is the team that they have. If they can come out and again, I mean, look, last night's game, they were behind 3-0, but they were the better team.
Oh, dude,
it's one or two mistakes.
They outskate them. They're the better athletes out there. They got the speed, everything. Look, Washington makes it difficult for them because they muck it up a little bit. And obviously TJ has been, freaking out. Just like Verhaeghe, give that man a 10-year contract already. I mean, what are we waiting for here? But so we got to give TJ a lot of credit. He's been a money player for them in this series, but it's just one of those where, man, I just wish you come out with that kind of intensity. And let me give you another reason why I'm concerned about this. Bob was exceptional at the back end of this game. I mean, he had some saves that were just absolutely beautiful, but he is not exceptional overall. So now you're falling behind and you don't have an exceptional goalie. That's another combination that I don't like also for the Panthers. And I just wonder if that's something you guys should bring up to Brunette. And I'm sure you brought it up throughout the year, but it's like, okay, you're now in the playoffs. What do you got to do to stop falling behind in the playoffs? Because this might be a very dangerous combination compared to the regular season.
No, it's been brought up. I mean, every time they fall behind, the questions come after the game or, the day after, whatever. How do you avoid this? What's going wrong? How do you fix it? I mean, he's always asked. It's just like the playoffs.
What's the answer?
The answer in the playoffs has been he's not happy with the effort at times. He thinks they're a little tentative and nervous at times. That was the talk early in the series, not so much lately because, they've won the last 2 games. They've had nice comebacks. But yeah, I mean, it's not like he can say this is the reason, this is what we need to fix because it's, as you said, it's been going on all year. It's fortunate that they're good enough that they can overcome it. But in turn, like it's not an X's and O thing. It's not like a coach thing.
No, it's definitely some kind of a lack of, they don't have the edge. You got to play with an edge, and it seems like they don't get the edge until they're backed into a corner, and then all of a sudden, that's when they find their edge. And now all of a sudden, the explosive skating, passing, and scoring all of a sudden starts to show up. That it's kind of that the edge is off until they're actually backed into a corner. It's crazy.
Last night, after the game, I was speaking to, we'll just say, a source on the inside, somebody very well plugged in with the team. And we're just kind of talking about the game and how it all played out. And he's like, it's amazing to me that they didn't seem to get comfortable until they were down 3-0. And they were able to kind of relax and play their game. And that they need to figure out how to do that when it's 0-0 or, whatever, 1-0. And I think Bruno kind of said something similarly in the post-game press conference. But yeah,
can you imagine?
I wish I had a better answer for you.
But can you imagine this offense with a lead constantly? Holy shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
well, that's the good thing is they've got room to go up. There's room for improvement at this stage of the year. I mean, look, this series, they have not scored a power play goal through 6 or 5 games, and they're up 3-2.
Yeah, what is it?
So there's room for improvement.
0 for 16, bro. 0 for 16. How does that happen, too? What the hell is? How can a team this explosive not score on the power play, bro?
It's weird because of all the talent that they can put out there. You can say maybe getting Ekblad back and kind of getting back to the chemistry of working in a defenseman because they were doing the 5-forward thing, which we've seen a couple of times in the series already. Last night, there were a couple of power plays where they looked more like themselves. They had the puck in the zone basically the entire time. They didn't have to switch players. The top power play unit was out there almost the whole 2 minutes for both power plays. I think progress is what I'm looking for in this series. And hopefully what we're going to be looking for as the playoffs continue. The power play was pretty bad. It did not look good earlier in the series. And I thought Washington, to their credit, just like how they've been successful throughout the series, is they're skating their asses off. And they were so aggressive on their penalty kill, giving Florida no room to work. Now, whether maybe it's later in the series, maybe they're getting tired. I don't know why they would change it because it was working for them. But now we're seeing Washington backing off and getting more into a box penalty kill, allowing Florida to move the puck. And that's giving them getting back to their comfort zone where they're confident and they're comfortable doing the things that they can do, which is being creative with the puck. You got all these great players on the ice for the power play. So again, hopefully it's a sign of progress. What I saw last night were the best power plays of the series. You would think that it's just a matter of time because you have these all-star players who all put up great offensive numbers this year. You think it's got to come through eventually.
By the way, folks, if you are locked out of your home, locked out of your car, you call our friends at ALennyLocksmith.com, 855-869-5625, anywhere in South Florida, Dade, Broward, Palm Beach counties, and even in Tampa, in Orlando. We've got locations in Central Florida and got one now also in Phoenix, Arizona. 24-hour locksmith, house, car locks. By the way, if those car keys need to be reprogrammed, Lenny Locksmith also does that. Residential, commercial locks, it doesn't matter. Make sure you call them 855-869-5625. Carter Verhaeghe, brother. I mean, if that's not a MVP right now this series, I don't know what is. But as I told you when this thing started, these are legacy moments for Barkov, Huberdeau, and Ekblad. I can't say I'm impressed with their legacy so far in this series, but Carter Verhaeghe, he's making a legacy right now in this series, bro. He is going down in Panther lore with the kind of performance he's putting together in this first round.
Yeah, I mean, you put up 5 points in a game, you're kind of entering into unique air, and for a franchise like the Panthers that has very little to pump their chest about in terms of their playoffs success, particularly at an individual level. They did go to the finals back forever ago in 1996. But in terms of individual accomplishments in the playoffs, I mean, Carter Verhaeghe's kind of writing the record book right now with the last 2 games he had. He's now one of 4 Panthers ever to score a playoff overtime goal, and one of only 2 to do it this millennium. And then you've got goes out yesterday, points on all 5 goals, effective on both ends of the ice. The go-ahead goal that he scored, the game-winning goal, was started on a play where he picked the puck off in the defensive zone.
Right. That's
started the rush and then hauled ass across the ice to beat everybody to the goalie is unreal. I mean, and to your point about, Barkov and Huberdeau, they're not showing up on the score sheet as much. I think Sasha Barkov has been quietly one of the best players on the ice in this series just because of how he's been affecting the game. He was really involved yesterday. He led all players in shots on goal. I think it's kind of like with the power play. It's got to be only a matter of time before these guys start to do their thing as well. I mean, Jonathan Huberdeau had a ridiculous season. He set the record for assists by a left wing in NHL history. Over 100 points.
He wasn't on the list for the MVP, dude. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that. He was in my top 3. With the ballots will come out, you see where I had him overall. But I mean, I was surprised. As much as I thought Igor Shesterkin was unbelievable for the Rangers, and we're seeing in the playoffs as he's struggling, and we're seeing how important a player he is to them. And he was on my ballot. I was a little surprised to see him in the top 3, especially considering the season Huberdeau had, not just from a points collecting perspective, but the way that he affected the game on both sides of the ice, the way that he improved himself this year to be a complete all-around 200-foot player playing all elements. He plays power play, shorthanded. I really thought that he entered a new level and was deserving of at least a top 3 consideration. So I was a little surprised by that.
He did when Barkov went out. That's where
Yeah.
I just said, "Wow, Hubie, dude, you're a stud, bro. You're a freaking stud." I do need you guys to be studs now, but I mean, it's only the first round, and if Verhaeghe wants to take the spotlight right now, I'm all good with that, man. I'm all good with that. I just want you, and there was a part of me, by the way, after those 3 goals, I'm wondering, when are you going to give Knight a chance? Is Knight
that wasn't Bob's fault.
And are you going to give Knight a chance in the next game? Maybe, you know what I'm saying?
I don't want to go there. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do what they did last season. I don't like the switching of goalies. It puts just another thing in players' heads.
No, I get it.
Leave it alone. Bob's been great. We are seeing the best Sergei Bobrovsky that we've seen in a Panthers sweater.
He's been solid.
I'm not looking at the goal totals.
I don't know if
I'm looking at how he's playing. I'm looking at the saves he's making and the goals that he's giving up.
Down the stretch, he did make some freaking awesome saves.
Well, early in the game as well. In the first period, he made a few big saves. I have no qualms with Sergei Bobrovsky. He's one of the lowest things on my list of things to worry about this playoffs.
Yeah.
He's been great.
He's been, I don't know about great, but okay.
Well, for the expectations that we've had for Bob during his 3 years with the Panthers, we are seeing the best version of him, which to me is a big win.
Okay. All right. I get it. We're not getting Columbus Bob, but we're getting the best version we've gotten.
Dude, we've talked about it. That's not gonna that's in the past, dude. Unless you've got Doc Brown and a DeLorean, you got to leave that stuff back there.
Yeah, no, but I kind of would like that because it would make our lives easy all the way through the run. You know what I'm saying? It's just when you have a guy spinning on his head. I watched it with Beezer, and they couldn't score with a fistful of dollars in a whorehouse. These guys can score blindfolded, bro. I mean, that's the thing that pisses me off about this series. Like when you watch the two teams, skill-wise, there's no comparison on the ice right now. The Panthers are way better, but it's just some of the other things that Washington's doing to try to, keep it close.
Well, it's tough for Washington because to succeed against Florida, they have to play a way that they're not used to playing, that they're not comfortable playing. And you can see as this series has gone on, it's becoming a little bit harder for them to sustain it for 60 minutes. There's cracks in the armor, and the Panthers are taking advantage on every opportunity. And we saw it last night.
The deepness of the Panthers is hurting them with that athleticism.
The fourth line was wearing Washington down with some of that offensive zone pressure the second half of last night. The Panthers, look, game 6 is going to be, crunch time because you're going to see a Washington team that's desperate. They know what they need to do in order to beat the Panthers, but will they do it uncomfortably against that powerhouse team, or can the Panthers control? I mean, it's going to be a great.
They've gotten away with their share of penalties that weren't called. So,
dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
that's been a frustrating part of this series.
And they're going to try to do, and since they've gotten away with it, they're going to try to do it again tomorrow night for sure. Guarantee you don't muck this thing up for sure.
No. They're going to try, but again, they were trying last night.
Right? Yeah. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. All right, what are you working on? So folks can check you out at WPLG and Chirping the Cats podcast, sir.
Yeah, right now I'm kind of planning ahead with the podcast and to see how this plays out. I'm hoping to do like a series recap, series preview, and not a season recap in the next few days. But that, as we know, is to be determined. But not, I mean, right now, Big O, it's just kind of
they'll win, bro. They'll win. It's frustrating sometimes, but they'll win. They'll figure it out.
Oh, I'll take frustrating wins over
Yeah, I just
the
want
last
league, bro.
25 years, whatever you want to call it.
I'm just terrified of these falling behind stuff in the playoffs. I just don't want you to do that, bro. It's going to cost us something down the stretch, and that's going to suck if they lose one of those games like that.
Stay positive, though. Stay positive.
Yeah. No, I mean, they're going to get through it. I think they'll get through this one, but I just think down the line, you can't keep falling behind against certain teams because that's going to end up burning you big time. All right, follow him on Twitter at David Dwork. Catch his work there at WPLG. And, of course, listen to the podcast, Chirping the Cats podcast. Make sure you subscribe so that way you know, and hit the notification bell so that way you know when the new one is up. David, as always, thank you, my brother. Enjoy the Okie.
Right. Be well, man.
Got it. There you go. The great David Dwork and our ALennyLocksmith.com lockdown.